NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Tonight, America at war.
Good evening. As we approach the end of week 3 of the war in the Persian Gulf, the Iranians now are trying to get involved as peace brokers, while the Allied air war continues without let-up. The Iranian offer remains just that, an offer to mediate. However, as NBC's Fred Francis at the Pentagon tells us now, American military strategists are much more concerned with Iraq's military planning. Fred?
Tom, that's right. Pentagon intelligence analysts say they expect Saddam Hussein to again order some of his ground troops to go on the attack before U.S. troops are ready for their own offensive.
Saddam has his Republican Guards, 150,000 men with tanks on the northern border. But in Kuwait and near Saudi territory are tens of thousands of other combat-ready troops with heavy tanks. As U.S. forces spread out facing those troops and the Iraqi border, there is a constant surveillance, spy satellites, warning aircraft, and reconnaissance patrols waiting to spot an Iraqi thrust south. Unlike last week's probing action with 500 to 600 men in 4 locations, it would not surprise Pentagon sources if Saddam sent at least 10,000 men into Saudi Arabia. More important, say the sources, lightly dug-in U.S. divisions would be unable to repel the attack immediately. But by the second day of the assault, the sources believe it would evolve into a killing zone. U.S. tanks would close on Iraqi flanks, artillery would block a retreat, and combat aircraft would destroy everything else left on the open desert. For Saddam, hunkered down in a bunker in Baghdad any length of time in Saudi Arabia, any U.S. combat deaths, no matter how severe his own losses, would be a grand political victory. Today, Secretary of Defense Cheney also warned that Saddam may use what is left of his Air Force for a massive raid into the south.
But he still retains some capability there. He's still got a number of pilots, a number of aircraft, and he might try to find some way to mount some kind of an assault against us with those aircraft. So you have to be sensitive to that.
Cheney and military leaders are also sensitive to Iraqi commando attacks on built-up U.S. positions near the border. Iraqis on foot in the desert could cause great havoc.
And finally, the sources say, expect Saddam to once again use environmental terrorism, dumping millions of barrels of oil into the Persian Gulf. Tom?
Thank you, Fred Francis at the Pentagon. Marine officials in the Gulf said today that their attack planes knocked out 25 Iraqi tanks as they moved through Kuwait, and 5 to 10 Iraqi vehicles moving in a convoy last night. NBC's Arthur Kent is in Saudi Arabia tonight, and he tells us there is a new player in all of this action. Arthur?
Tom, U.S. and allied forces continue to coordinate their fire on Iraq and Kuwait, and today an old warhorse was brought into action to add power and accuracy to the allied attack.
The USS Missouri has fired cruise missiles in this conflict, but today its 16-inch guns, like these shown in practice fire, lofted 7 2,000-pound shells at Iraqi command bunkers in Kuwait. U.S. officials say the bunkers were destroyed, that the battleship's accuracy makes it worth risking in operations within 25 miles of Iraqi-controlled shoreline. Allied airstrikes, too, have taken out more Iraqi supply dumps and command centers. And here, British Buccaneer bombers hit a railway bridge. Allied warplanes have forced Iraqi armored columns to change tactics.
We're now beginning to see them cut their vehicle convoys down to 5 and 10 vehicles at a time. Clearly some indication they're trying to minimize the target they present to our friendly air.
On the Allied side of the ground war, Prince Fahid visited Saudi troops wounded in last week's fighting in Khafji. This soldier says he wants to rejoin his comrades in the fight and to defend his holy country. In the desert, French and U.S. troops inspect each other's weapons.
Confusing, you know, Iraqis have one just like it, you know, and you got to distinguish, you got to be looking real close.
Primer feed automatically comes over.
The key to avoiding confusion, say field commanders, position Allied forces properly before a battle and keep them apart when the fighting starts.
But casualties among Allied forces from misdirected or friendly fire are expected. Today, one British commander commented on the 7 Marines who were killed by a U.S. warplane's missile last week, and he said, "These things happen in war, always have, always will." Tom?
Thank you, Arthur Kent. Tonight in Saudi Arabia. NBC's Ed Rabel is in the Iranian capital of Tehran tonight, and he joins us now to bring us up to date on the latest diplomatic maneuverings there. Ed?
Tom, a day full of surprises. Iranian President Rafsanjani suggesting, almost urging that there be direct talks with the United States on the Persian Gulf crisis, and Rafsanjani preparing to receive a high-ranking Kuwaiti official who is here to lavish praise on Iran for staying out of the war.
We are not going to do anything that can violate our neutrality.
Rafsanjani assuming the role of peacemaker, offering to meet Saddam Hussein for talks on ending the Gulf War, willing to resume official contact with the U.S. to stop the fighting.
We believe that borders in our region should not be changed.
Casting Iran as the Switzerland of the region, Rafsanjani was letting the world know Iran would be a power to be reckoned with in any post-war peace settlement in the region. And Kuwait, the country Americans and their allies are fighting and dying for, is taking him seriously. Kuwait's foreign affairs minister, sent by the Emir of Kuwait, will meet the Iranian president tomorrow.
We have announced, and we will always announce, our deep appreciation for the firm stand of the Islamic Republic of Iran, of its neutrality.
Such an overture to Iran by Kuwait was unthinkable just 2 years ago. Then, Kuwait had backed Saddam Hussein's war against Iran with $30 billion in aid. Now, Iran stands to be rewarded with access to billions of dollars from Kuwait for its neutrality. The billions could help boost Iran into the economic and political powerhouse President Rafsanjani promised in the Middle East.
And Iran potentially has the resources and the power, strategically and economically, to become the center of development, I should say, for the whole region.
Tom, the importance of the region is not being overlooked by the Soviet Union. They're sending their deputy foreign minister here tomorrow to meet with President Rafsanjani to talk about the Gulf crisis, Tom.
There is some static on the line between NBC News and Tehran. What about the line of communications between Baghdad now and Tehran? Has Iran heard from Baghdad?
Well, President Rafsanjani in his news conference today, Tom, said that he had detected no flexibility on the part of Baghdad when he met with a delegation from Iraq over the weekend. That delegation told other government officials that President Saddam Hussein intended to go the course, that he had no intention of giving up the fight anytime soon.
And what happens to the role of Iran as peacemaker if in some way Israel becomes involved in the war itself?
Rafsanjani was asked that question in the news conference today also, and surprisingly, he did not say, well, immediately Iran is going to go to war. He said, well, we'll just have to study that. He also said that if Turkey were to be involved, to get involved, that Iran would not go to war. So some surprising developments there as well.
Thank you, Ed Rabel, tonight in Iran. And when Nightly News continues in a moment, what does victory mean for the United States and the future of the Middle East?
Ford Motor Company profiles in quality, vision.
Quality of the glass that goes into our cars is so important, we make it ourselves.
No other car company in the world does that.
Ford glass has to pass over 110 quality inspections. Our people check it, our lasers check it, our robots check it.
Our glass is so good, it not only goes into our cars, many other automakers put it in their cars.
Our goal is to build the highest quality cars and trucks in the world.
At Ford, quality is job one.
Hi, what'd you bring back?
Diarrhea.
Of course, you forgot your kaopectate.
Advanced formula kaopectate. Just one dose helps relieve diarrhea fast.
Next time, I won't forget the kaopectate.
Guaranteed to stop diarrhea fast.
In art, taste is subjective, but in life, good taste is well defined. Fancy Feast gourmet cat food, exceptionally moist and delicious. Fancy Feast. Good taste is easy to recognize.
The Bush administration was surprised by Iran's offer to help end this war, and publicly it didn't give it much attention today, but there is this dilemma. How to end the war so Saddam is no longer a force and the West doesn't get the blame? NBC's John Dancy is at the State Department tonight. John?
Tom, one reason for Iran's offer to mediate is that everybody is beginning to wonder what the Middle East will look like after the war. Secretary of State James Baker and his aides are already at work on a detailed plan, and Baker will reveal parts of it when he testifies before Congress on Wednesday. Much depends on how the war ends, with Saddam dead or alive, with his army intact or destroyed, defeated or in a standoff. Saddam's country already has taken a worse pounding than Germany did in all of World War II, and he's still standing, still in power. Many experts say Saddam could stop the war right now and end up a hero to the Arab masses for having taken the coalition's best punch. Defense Secretary Dick Cheney today dismissed that idea.
I guess I don't buy the argument that he's somehow winning by losing. I would argue that the United States and our allies are on the side of a majority of opinion in the Arab world.
Countries like Israel, object of Iraqi Scud attacks, would likely not accept a peace agreement that left Saddam militarily strong.
That man will wait another year, another day, and come back once the Americans are out of the area.
That is one reason the U.S. is pushing a regional security force in the area to control Saddam if he stays in power. But key senators on the Foreign Relations Committee believe one goal of a peace conference must be to remove Saddam.
The Saddam regime ought to go, but that is a personal judgment. I feel that there ought to be a disconnect clearly between Saddam Hussein and the military juggernaut that he has fashioned and used.
But many experts fear the effort to crush Saddam will leave a legacy of hatred for the U.S. in the Middle East.
You could see actually increasing anti-Americanism in the region as a whole, and greater fragmentation. That's the worst case scenario.
So, however this turns out, whether Saddam lives or dies, the United States cannot expect a tidy peace, even if it wins a clear military victory. And that's beginning to worry people here, Tom.
And John Dancy, what about American military troops in that part of the world? The president has been promising to bring those troops home as soon as there is a military victory. Is that going to be possible?
But in fact, Tom, the United States has now become the preeminent Middle East power. It is going to have to remain there as power broker, arbiter, sometime peacemaker. It's not necessarily a happy role, but it is a role the United States is prepared to play, and one that it may have no choice but to play.
John Dancy at the State Department, thank you very much. There was a major bomb scare today in Norfolk, Virginia, about 10 miles from the huge naval base there. At a commercial port, pipe bombs were found attached to 2 chemical tanks, but law enforcement sources said their timing device was simply an egg timer that didn't work. Both bombs were removed and defused. The FBI said it had not determined if this was terrorism connected to the Gulf War.
Seems to me a new car warranty should cover the entire car for many miles. Now take Ford Taurus. Its basic warranty ends at just 12,000 miles. But the basic warranty on the new Cutlass Supreme goes a bit farther. Like from New York to L.A., back to New York to L.A., to New York to L.A., to New York to L.A., New York to L.A., to New York to L.A., to New York, plus a trip to Anchorage, Alaska. Cutlass Supreme with its bumper-to-bumper plus warranty. Here's one car that does it all and does it right. Hey, Dad.
This is the new generation of old.
Sure, I want my family to eat healthy. Doesn't everyone? But I can still cook foods we love. I just cook them smarter. And I trust Pam to help me do that.
Even healthy foods like chicken can be loaded with fat and calories cooked in butter, margarine, or oil. Look at all the fat and calories they add compared to Pam, the healthier choice.
That's why we're Pam people. When they eat healthy, I'm happy.
No stick Pam cooking spray. It's the healthier way to cook.
Folks in these parts think Tom Lawton is the best thing to ever turn a wrench. But back east, they'll put their money down on the guys at McClellan's. It seems in every town there's always one place that does a little bit better job fixing your car. And it seems the things they all have in common are great mechanics, great service, and Napa parts. Look for the sign of quality car repair. Napa.
I was afraid to go to the doctor. I didn't want to hear that I might have an ulcer, but I just couldn't ignore my stomach. You can imagine how relieved I was when my doctor said Mylanta. He told me it wasn't an ulcer. It was indigestion. And indigestion like mine needed a strong medicine.
Mylanta is strong medicine, strongly recommended. In fact, Mylanta is the antacid doctors recommend most.
My doctor said Mylanta.
One of America's big allies in this war has been its technology, the ability to strike Iraqi targets from the air with great precision at night. It's made the so-called smart weapons central to Allied strategy. NBC Science correspondent Robert Bazell visited a company that makes one of the smarter systems.
These workers at Martin Marietta in Orlando are putting together one of the most complex weapon systems of modern warfare, one that is being used in the Gulf. Called Lantern, it allows pilots to see and bomb in the middle of the night as well as in daylight. It is one of the best examples of computer chip technology for the battlefield.
It takes away the sanctuary of darkness from the enemy. Traditionally, he resupplies at night and moves at night, and with Lantern, we deny him that ability.
The electronics, millions of pieces of information are carried in these pods. 2 fit under the wings of each jet. One is for navigation. This allows the pilot to look in a heads-up display over the cockpit window and see a panorama that picks up the minute amounts of heat that objects give off in the dark. A second pod produces the display in the lower right-hand corner. This allows the pilot or a second crew member to pick out a target with a laser burst. A laser-guided bomb then moves in on the target, even while the plane is pulling away in a different direction.
All right.
The Lantern system is costing about $3.5 billion. For many years, there was a bitter fight in Congress about whether it should be built. Everyone here at Martin Marietta learned just how well the system can work when General Schwarzkopf showed the bombing of Scud missiles and other targets at night using the Lantern system. Chris Saharsky is a supervisor on the assembly line.
To see how well Martin's doing and actually know that our hardware is appreciated makes us feel like we're going to have a job in the future.
The system has been tested extensively, partly on this simulator at Martin Marietta. Engineers who have been involved in this and related projects say they knew all along how well Lantern would work.
A lot of people seem to be surprised, and it surprises me that they're surprised because we've been demonstrating this equipment. We've had tests which showed that it performed, and it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Surprised or not, many people in the defense industry believe that the Gulf War will increase the future demand for high-tech, expensive weapon systems. Robert Bazell, NBC News, Orlando.
When Nightly News continues, a new chapter in the federal budget story.
Ford Motor Company profiles in quality, protecting your investment.
It's really upsetting when something chips the paint on your new car. So today, we're demonstrating a remarkable chip-resistant spray we now apply at the factory to the critical areas of all our American-built cars.
Half this test hood was sprayed with it, half was not. Look for yourself. You can see the difference.
When your goal is to build the highest quality cars and trucks in the world,
you don't do it any other way.
At Ford, quality is job one.
During the course of one 60-minute workout, a body can be depleted of vitamins B6 and C, carbohydrates, and valuable potassium, all of which, it so happens, can be replaced by eating one Chiquita banana. So whatever you put out, put back. Chiquita, quite possibly the world's perfect food.
Ooh, I love the taste of Crab Delights from Lewis Kemp. Crab Delights tonight. It's a seafood paradise. Crab Delights tonight.
Crab Delights from Lewis Kemp. So easy, so delicious, right out of the package in your favorite dish.
Can't help this love of mine. Now I have seafood anytime.
Now you can enjoy the great taste of lobster tonight with Lobster Delights from Lewis Kemp.
I'm here with Ford Juices.
But one's in a mug. That's different.
Well, Sunsweet Prune Juice not only has more of 7 important vitamins and minerals than these other juices.
Sunsweet's delicious, hot. You should try it.
I was about to.
Now's the time for Centrum Silver, because you're over 50 and you're out there swinging. Centrum Silver, a complete vitamin formula for your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver, it's a great time to be silver.
If you thought you had heard the last about the federal budget for a while, well, think again. President Bush's budget for fiscal 1992 went to Congress today, and we have NBC's John Cochran at the White House now. Andrea Mitchell on Capitol Hill sorted it out. John, let's begin with you and the president's plan. What's in it?
Tom, the president's budget again calls for no new taxes, but this time the president's men say he means it.
Today, the president tried to steer clear of the kind of budget battle that led to his crack last year, read my hips. This time, Bush hopes to avoid a serious budget fight, although he is again pushing for tax cuts rejected by Congress last year, cuts in capital gains, and a tax break for long-term savings accounts. The Bush budget would increase spending by 2.6%, well below the inflation rate.
At the same time, it would shift public expenditures toward investment in the future, in education, children, prevention of ill health, housing, infrastructure, research and development, and other areas.
Bush also calls for modest spending increases for the war on drugs, space exploration, and highway construction. Bush would reduce spending on farm subsidies, guaranteed student loans, and Medicare, a potentially explosive issue, especially for the elderly. But the president told the nation's governors today he wants Congress to set aside $15 billion for states to spend as they want.
You are on the problem-solving edge of this equation. You are better equipped to represent the diverse interests of the various states.
The governors love that kind of massaging, but even those Republicans Bush campaigned for complain that federal help is not enough.
We are now facing, in most of the states, a gap between revenues and expenditures that is unprecedented.
Of course, the big unknown for everyone is how much will the Gulf War cost? The White House estimates that through the end of next month, America's share will be $15 billion. But that figure is meaningless because no one knows how long the war will last. Tom?
Thank you, John. Now, Andrea Mitchell on Capitol Hill. Andrea, this is the beginning of a political battle that could go on for months. What are the Democrats saying in the opening round?
Well, Tom, in the face of uncertainty over war and recession, leading Democrats call this a close your eyes, cross your fingers budget. As the budget books came off the press, congressional leaders said the president's plan is far too optimistic, especially about the cost of the war.
You can't just fight a credit card war out there and not pay for it by some means or other.
The administration assumes our allies like Japan and Germany will contribute their fair share. If you believe these assumptions, I've got a dream vacation in Baghdad I'd like to sell you.
How will the war affect future defense cuts? Congress and the administration had agreed to cut 521,000 active duty personnel over the next 5 years, roughly the number of troops now deployed in Desert Storm. Few people think that will now be possible. But the Pentagon hopes the war will build support for pet programs. Stealth fighter jets helped achieve tactical surprise in the initial attack on Baghdad.
One of the lessons learned in the Gulf has been the enormous value of stealth.
So the administration is asking for another kind of stealth weapon, twice as many, B-2 bombers, despite strong opposition in the House. And the Pentagon is hoping the Patriots' success at shooting down Scuds will score a big victory for Star Wars. But congressional opponents say a space-based defense system is a far cry from what the Patriots are doing in the desert. Also not likely to pass. Domestic initiatives like cutting Medicare benefits, while also reducing capital gains taxes on the wealthy.
In one stroke, the president in this budget creates the largest deficit in history. It gives the wealthiest people in the country a huge tax cut. It makes huge cuts in the Medicare program.
Last year's agreement does mean that Congress cannot increase the amount of overall spending, but it sure can substitute its favorite programs for the president's. Tom?
Thank you, Andrea. Several top banks today joined the move in cutting their prime lending rate by ½ point, and that gave Wall Street a big boost, sending the Dow up sharply in heavy trading to a 6-month high.
Ford Motor Company profiles in quality, customer satisfaction.
Today we realize that quality's got to be #1.
I said that back in '82, and today it's truer than ever.
The looks attracted me, but the performance sold me.
After 2 years, it still shines like new.
We love hearing things like that. The only thing better than a Sable
is 2 Sables.
Our goal is to build the highest quality cars and trucks in the world.
At Ford, the quality is job one.
Take a look around me at a place like none on land. Sail away now, you'll find me. The world's in my command.
Of all the resorts in the world, one takes you to the great places of the world. Royal Caribbean, the grand resorts of the 7 seas. Isn't it time you discovered them?
Maytag, can I help you? No. Maytag, can I help you?
At Maytag, our repairmen make sure they're on top of their skills.
Maytag's the name, repairs the game.
Just in case. After all, it has happened.
Maytag headquarters.
A Maytag does need a repair.
Hello? No, dear. I won't be working late tonight.
Maytag, the dependability people.
Pain from just one sensitive tooth can start the domino effect. Pain can make you stop brushing, lead to plaque buildup, gingivitis, periodontal disease, even tooth loss. Sensodyne toothpaste helps stop the pain and the domino effect.
Hi, what'd you bring back?
Diarrhea.
Of course. You forgot your kaopectate.
Advanced formula kaopectate. Just one dose helps relieve diarrhea fast.
Next time, I won't forget the kaopectate.
Guaranteed to stop diarrhea fast.
On the home front tonight, a priest's dilemma. He believed that the military was a safe haven from the perils of the streets surrounding his inner city parish. NBC's Ann Curry is in Chicago.
The majority of those youngsters that are over there now...
A Catholic church shaken by war.
They volunteered to escape unemployment. They volunteered to escape a lack of education.
More than 100 sons and daughters of Holy Angels Parish are in the Gulf. Father George Clements counseled them to join the military, to be all they can be.
I told them that there was a way out of the poverty, out of the crime. And I should have said to these people, look, now you're going into service, but you just might have to go and fight a war. I should have said that.
Sean Canty joined the Marines. His brother Edward chose the Army. Both are in the Gulf. Now their younger brother Raphael hears from his priest.
I just don't think you should go.
Aye.
Father Clements has a new message for these streets.
I say this. I would rather they stay here in poverty than go over there and face the possibility of losing their life.
Young men with fewer choices.
We go to war, we go over there, we ain't gonna get no jobs.
We gotta think about it. We're not gonna go over there and then come back for nothing.
And let us pray especially for Corporal Edward Canty.
Mothers hearing the names of their sons don't blame their priest.
Even a priest can give bad advice. I still say I hold no animosity against him.
Corporal Leland Harlan.
The priest can't let go of his guilt.
I apologize to those people, and I regret it very, very much, and I will feel it very, very deeply if any of those people that I ever counseled come back here in a bag. Then yes, this will be something I'll have to live with the rest of my life.
Ann Curry, NBC News, Chicago.
That's Nightly News up to the minute. This special edition will continue on many of these stations in a moment. And of course, we will have round-the-clock coverage of America at war on this NBC station.